Hi all. So what we'll be going through this morning is what is MI Portal, its benefits, who is the actual portal aimed at, its components, and then some process flows. And we'll be showing you the portal in with all the logins that are available. So who's it aimed for? Internal client services people, sales, customer support. Either they can be internal or external because it's a web client. Internal service staff can use it, and also external subcontracting service staff can use it. The customers can see their orders, they can upload orders, they can do payments, they can look up stock, deliveries, and account information. Let's look at the MI Portal setup. So we have a cloud service. So this is a subscription product, and it's connected to your SAP Business One system. And what you have to do on the SAP Business One side is have a service called B1IF running, and that connects to the portal. The portal does not synchronize any information at all. It basically reads all the information from SAP Business One live. So we have the customers to your right there. You can see this customers logging in, your staff and your service agents going through the cloud into the portal application where they can see orders, deliveries, invoices, and so on, and that's synchronized straight into SAP. All right, so its capabilities. So first thing, impact on your SAP Business One system. What's unique about this particular portal is there's no add-on in SAP. We do support all the user-defined fields and user-defined objects or tables in SAP Business One, but we don't actually change anything inside SAP Business One. All we're doing is reading information and writing information into the database. The portal itself is fully customizable. The screens and all the menus can be designed the way you'd like them designed. You can hide fields, add user-defined fields, take them away, and also you can restrict information depending on the user logon user type. So there are 5 logon types that we have created. One obviously is the administrator, then there's the customer, then sales, client services people, the CRM side of the portal, then the service agent who's internal, and the service agent that's external. And the difference between the internal and external service agent is that the external agent can basically bill on behalf of you and also push to the SAP Business One system their invoice for the work that they've done for you or on your behalf. All right, so the next thing is Kenton will be basically showing you the internal system on how a customer deals and logs in and orders. Then we'll be going through what a salesperson, how that salesperson can basically look at the information in SAP Business One. And then we'll go through a process of showing you how a service technician can use the system. So I'm going to hand over to Kenton now to show you how a customer would log into the system and go through the order process.
Thanks, Yaro. Hello, everyone. So once I log in, I get some sort of a banner page. You know, you could put some static information in here, but really, then you've got a menu system where you can access whatever features are available to you as a user. Now, as a customer, I can go in and see my own details. So if I click onto the My Details section, this will show me information relating to me as a customer. So I can see my code, my name, account balances and things like that. And note what Yaro said earlier, we can add or remove these fields as required. So, you know, if you don't want them to see, for example, the customer group, well, yes, we can get rid of that. If you don't want them to be able to see balances, we can get rid of them as well. So you see here, we can also display the contact persons from within the organization. And depending on the login user's access level, you can even create or remove contact persons if required. And likewise with the addresses as well, you can do the same thing. You can control as a customer logging in, you could manage that information if we allow that access. So that's the first menu item there. The next one here is the My Calls. So this is basically if I, as a customer, has logged some service requests or service calls in terms of repairs or maintenance, then I'll see a listing of those open service calls within the system. And from here, I can even go and check the statuses of those service calls. At this stage, I've only got one open, so I'll quickly go into it. I won't spend too much time in the service area because further in the presentation today, we'll spend a bit more time in that. But the important thing would be, let's see what the status is, and let's see when it's scheduled to be worked on, right? So we know that Rob, the technician, was supposed to be working on this a couple of days ago. Maybe he hasn't shown up, so this means that I should probably follow up and see what's happened. And then let's look at some of the other menu items. So under ordering, there's a few different options here. So the first one here is draft orders. And what this allows you to do is essentially go in and start creating an order without submitting it. So, you're going through a process of putting a few items, then you might get a bit sidetracked, or you might, you might not be 100% sure of what else you need to order, so you can sort of save it, and then you come back in and sort of continue with it. So let's start with that process. I'm going to create a new draft order. Now back in SAP, this is configured to go in as a quote, but we can certainly configure all that as well. So I'm going to select the contact person that should be dealing with this particular or should be contacted in relation to this order, and I can put a required by date, and I can also define a ship to address. And at this stage, because it's just a draft or a quote, I mean, these bits of information are probably not essential. But what's important is here you can now start selecting the items you wish to include in the order. So you've got a search section on the top right here, and in that search section you can start typing in, if you're looking for a particular item, you can start typing it. So let's say I'm looking for something that has the word quad in it. So here's a quad core processor. Let's say I want one of those. So that'll get added onto the order. Let's clear the search out. What else do I want? So I can just go straight in and say I want one of these office printers. What else do I want? Let's say I want one of these motherboards. So I can go in and add that, 2 of those. And then I can also filter or search this list. So, I might be able to filter this by the manufacturer, for example. So I can go in and say, I want to see anything that's manufactured by, for example, OEC. So let's filter for OEC. And now this is everything that's manufactured by OEC, and maybe I'll put one of these portable hard disks on as well. So once I've done everything I needed to do, I've got to just clear the filters out, and these are the 4 items. Now I probably got interrupted. I need to go do some other things, and I want to come back and continue with this. So what I can do is at this point I can just add the order or add the draft order. I can see the total value so far. So I just save this as a draft. And later on I might come back and I can continue with the order. So that's it's listed by the most recent one first. I'll go into the top one. and I can see the items that were already included. Right now the list is coming up as filtered, but I can remove the filter and I can see all the items that were on there. I can add a couple more items into it. And once I'm happy with the products that I've included and I'm ready to submit the order, firstly I need to save this. So this is now just the draft that I had previously created. Okay, sorry, I do need the required date. And I save it. And then when I get back to my list of orders, I can then go into this option called review and order. So now I'm going to say, right, I'm happy with what I've got as my draft. Let's review the complete list. So that's the complete transaction that I've got. I'm going to copy that to an order. And I can start finalizing it. So when do I need it by? Is there a purchase order reference? You know, these are all the items. Now at this point, I could still, you know, add a couple more items into this if I wanted to, but now the interface is slightly different. So this is the second way of entering items onto the order. I can go through, search the items I wish to add. Again, I always have the ability to filter the list regardless. And let's say, you know, I forgot to order some labels, so I want to get one of those or a couple of those and submit that. So this is my complete order. I'm happy with that. I've got all the details, and as you can see, this is now mimicking pretty much the SAP Business One screen. You've got the header area, you've got the contents, you've got the totals, you've got the logistics tab. So where is it going to get shipped to? You can select, you know, a different ship to address if you wish to. As I said, this is all data coming directly from SAP. We're reading live into SAP. You can also put attachments. If there were some attachments that you wish to add onto this order, you could do that. And once that's all okay, we click on the save, and that now saves that as a sales order in SAP Business One. Okay, so I mean, I've got my SAP system running here. So if I essentially went back to the last order, that's the order that I just placed. If I come back into the order itself, I could print it if I wanted to. And this is basically using the crystal layouts that you've got designed in SAP. Those will open up on here, and you could print them off if you wanted to. Okay, so that's the draft orders and the process of then converting into a real order. I can go and look at my existing orders now. You know, at this point, once the order is submitted, there's no way for the customer login to amend them. All they can do is view the existing orders. And the other thing they can do is if there's an existing order that you want to just duplicate, then you can click on this copy to order, and then it'll start a new order with those items included within that order. What else we have here? We can see a listing of all the open deliveries, or list of all the open deliveries. And then if I clicked on the show all button, then it'll show open and closed. So it'll show everything then, right? Whether it's open or closed. And the search option is always available. So, you know, if you know a specific delivery number, you can search on that. But, you know, it's all there. You can look at your invoices. Same thing again. You can see the open ones, or you can see all of them. Once again, based on this button. And then one of the other options you've got is obviously to pay your invoice. So if you're on there and you wanted to then pay off a few invoices. You can go in and sort of select the invoices you're paying. So let's say I'm going to pay $205 balance left on this first invoice. I can go in and put in the $205. And then on the second line, I could go in and partially pay. Let's say I'm just paying $100 on that. And then that's the total of what I'm paying. That's $305. You can have your credit card details, and then that would go through a payment gateway and take the money from your account or from the customer's account. And that's a way of paying for invoices. Now, the final option here is to request a service call. So if I need something fixed, I could go in and as a self-service request a service to be done. And what I'll do is I'll just very quickly put one in, because later on when we see the process of then allocating that call to a service tech and how that all works, we can go through that process as well. So pick the customer, pick the contact person, say it's Yaro, you can put in a phone number, and the main information here is this: what product needs to be worked on. So this is using the customer equipment card. So it's standard SAP service. So if the item has a customer equipment card, we can select the serial number and generate a service call. If it doesn't have a customer equipment card or it's not a serialized item, then you can just register a service call against an item code only. Let's say, what is the problem? Let's say the problem is a repair, and let's say toner is not working. So it's a printer issue, toner is not working, and I'll save that. So all I've done so far is just registered a service call. And we'll look at what happens to that later. But that's the service tech login. I'm going to log off now. And now I'm going to log in as a employee. So I'm going to log in as Bill. Bill is an employee of this organization. So he's going to log in and look at CRM related data. So the menu systems you'll see is slightly different. It's got more options. So the first thing is he can see his own customers. So, and Bill only works with 4 customers. They're the only customers he deals with, and that's purely based on configuration of who the salesperson is linked to these customers. From here, I can go in and look at a specific customer. So I'm going to go in and look at Maxi Tech. And once again, I can see all the general information, contact persons. But look, across the page now, we've got a whole lot more information. I can see all the activities that have been created. So CRM related activities, I can go in and see, all right, let's see what all the activities are. There's a whole bunch of them. I can go in and drill in and look at one of these activities and see what the details of that was. Let's go back to the list of activities. And once again, this is now just showing open activities firstly, but if I wanted to see all activities, I can also do that. But I can also, as a salesperson, I can also add an activity as well. You can see the draft orders the customer has been working on. We can see the orders list. I mean, these are the things we've previously seen via a customer login, but you can also see the same thing via a salesperson login. And the salesperson can also place an order on behalf of a customer. So, and with this one, we've got the process of either selecting an item one at a time and doing it through a sort of order entry process, or you can do it as an order sheet. So we saw the order sheet before, so I'm not going to work through that again, but that's the same as what a customer can do. They can come in and order their products. Let's come back to the customer. You can also go through, you might go to the customer and take money from them and pay the invoices directly in front of them. So that's all of the things that, mostly a customer can also do. If I come back to the rest of the menu system, I can see my calendar. So I can see all the activities that I've been assigned to or I need to work on. And similar to how you can see the calendar in Business One, you can see the calendar here, whether it's on a weekly, monthly, or a daily basis. You can also drill into an activity directly from the calendar. So it's kind of like your appointments. You're on the road, you open it up, you see your calendar. Who am I visiting today? These are all the customers I need to follow up. And then you can come in, update the information. You've done the talking with them, and you can save that data back to SAP. So you can create a new quote to the customer, a new order. You can create draft orders, deliveries. You can also do a stock lookup. So you can go in and look at inventory, what's on hand, what's ordered, what's available, what the list price is, and again, filter the list based on whatever data is already available on the grid. So that's all there. And then this one here, the forecast. So this is, if you remember, if you know your SAP Business One, within the MRP module there is a forecast. Well, what we can do is also, present any particular data sets or screens from within SAP into this portal. So if it's important for your salesperson to be able to see sales forecasts, well, then we can present that data as well. We can see what we're expecting to sell, but it doesn't have to be the forecast. It could be any piece of data or data set within Business One. And then finally, you can of course also request a service call on behalf of a customer. So we've seen customer place a service call. We can also do it as a salesperson. And so what I'm going to do next is just go back into SAP and look at that service call that was placed, because after that, we're going to move into a service tech login and see how they're going to process the rest of the transaction. So here's that service call that we had placed. It was about toner not working, and it was registered by Yarrow. That's the serial number related to it. Now the thing you need to do to assign this service call to a service tech is to go into the scheduling tab and add the technician and specify a schedule. So I'm going to add a row and pick the technician. So we're going to have Rob, the technician, working on this. So I'm going to select Rob, and let's say they're going to work on it tomorrow, and they're going to do it from midday, and they might finish off at 1 o'clock. So they'll be there for 1 hour, and I'll update that. So this will now show up under Rob's login as a task that they need to work on. So from here, I'm going to pass it on to Yarrow to now show the service tech login and how that works.
Okay, so I just log into, I'm Rob the technician, I'll put my password in and I log in. And on the menu, I've got my details, and then I've got the service. So I've got assigned service calls, the calls calendar, my invoice requests, my approvals, and parts purchased. Now, so if I go to assign calls, I can see that these are the 2 open calls. So I can see that the toner's not working and there's something broken in the calibration there. So I can just click on the call ID. Now, at this point, this presents the actual service call like it is, very similar to what SAP has. There's the customer, there's the call, the call where it's a repair, and down here we've got Rob the technician has been assigned. It's for tomorrow, and then these are all the parts and the labour. Obviously nothing's happened yet, so I haven't put anything in there. And obviously you can see at the top there, I can click on different areas, view attachments, add attachments, and there's also a signature pad here. So let's just go to the top. So looking at the equipment card, so there's your serial number and so on. I can then go in here and say, okay, I'm going to do the job now. I've done what I need to do. It's only taken me, say, 1 hour. I can say it's 1 hour. And add that in there. I submit. And then I can pop in. I haven't used any parts or labor because I didn't need to. And I can go into the service report here. And these job statuses here are exactly how you set all the job statuses up in SAP. So this just replicates it. So I can say that this particular job is in progress, or I can just say I've got to quote it, or I can close it. Now, if I close it, I can put the service report in and say I just cleaned the printer and just a gen clean, and I've completed this service report. So I can save that, and that is completed. So then I can go back into my next job, open that up, and have a look at what's going on here. See, there's parts, there's labor already done. The service report is still in progress. And that's the basic screen. Now, I'll just explain something here, what's available here. What's the difference between an internal service technician and external set? So an internal technician will only be shown normally this invoice customer screen. And that allows them to basically put the orders in for additional parts or labor that they used, whether it's warranty or that's chargeable. But if it's a contract technician, they can order parts for their van through this tab here, and then they can send the invoice to parts that they have used out of their van through this tab here. So the equipment card, if I just click into the equipment card, this basically shows exactly what SAP has in its equipment card. If there is one, in this case there isn't, but these are the information that is shown there. To go back, I can just click on the service call again. If I look at order parts, you can also notice the order parts, I can import a list here if I want. So if the parts, say there might be 20 different parts, I could actually create a common delimited file and upload the import parts here. And then if I want to add a part, I can just search, as Kenton has shown you before. It's the same interface here. So they need just a new printer, so I can select that and submit. And once I've done that, I can just save that. Now you notice that I didn't put anything in the logistics tab or anything like that. The system will default to the SAP defaults on all those particular components. Now when it goes to my invoice, I can just show you that screen. We pop into my invoice, and this particular, so here I'm invoicing really Maxitech, because I'm the customer here. Rob's bike was returned, and I can now say, well, go plus. What's the item code? Well, it's labor, description, just installation. It's 1 hour, and my labor rate is fantastic because it's $200 an hour, and I submit. And then once I've done that, I can just save. So now once I've completed this, now this is my invoice. What happens on the SAP side now is that in SAP, that's a purchase order request has gone into SAP. And Kenton will show you that in a minute, where he'll show you how what's actually happened inside SAP Business One. So there's a purchase order request there for somebody to say, yes, this is correct. We called the subcontractor. Yes, they've done the work. Yes, we now will pay them. All right. So we'll save that. Okay. So Kenton, do you want to just go on to the next bit? Let's have a look at SAP. Got it?
Okay, hang on, let me. All right, so on the purchase order, so this is the service tech putting in his request to be paid for the $200 or $220 of labor that he spent. So it comes in as a purchase order, then internally someone's reviewing this, and then, you know, if they're okay with it, then they would accept it, let the service tech know to issue the invoice, and then they'd convert it into the AP invoice. So this is sort of an approval step. So it doesn't come through as an AP invoice, but rather comes in as a purchase order. And likewise, those requests for parts, or if you're sort of saying you're billing the customer, those also come through as a sales order. Doesn't come through directly as an invoice, and then they get reviewed, and if it's okay, they get billed. And you'll notice that because it's linked to a particular service call, you'll see that link will also be there on the sales order. And if you look at our service call, you'll also see in the related documents the relationship between all those different transactions that were posted.